discussion. One is how NBFCs are leveraging technology to become more secure and compliant. And the other one is a digital avatar of BFSI, tracking the journey. Most of the panelists are representing the NBFCs. So we are merging these two panels, and we would have a overall broader discussion on how NBFCs are looking at leveraging technology. It's my pleasure. I would like to now call on stage the panelists for these. Let me a round of applause for Alok Aggarwal, CEO of Muthoot Homefin. A round of applause for Vipul Nirwani, Senior Group Vice President, Head Digital Products of Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Round of applause for Rajesh Kale, Deputy Vice President, IT Infrastructure, Aadhar Housing Finance. A round of applause for Preeti Singh, Head Customer Experience, Axis Finance. Round of applause for Arpanarghya Shah, Chief Digital Officer, Nippon India Mutual Fund. A round of applause for Ashwini Kumar Choudhary, Chief Risk Officer of Union Bank of India. A round of applause for Kinjal Shah, CTO, Yes Securities. A round of applause for Anand Bhatia, Chief Data Officer and Analytics, HDB Financial Services. Anand? Okay. Okay. So we have, I think, one representation from bank and from NBFC. So we will keep some question. See, overall, the perspective we are trying to get is the digital avatar of BFSI, and since it's primarily driven by the NBFCs, we would like to get an NBFC perspective as well as an overall digitization of the BFSI sector and what is the impact on banks that we would also like to take. We have Omkar Sawant also. Can we a round of applause for Omkar Sawant, VPIT, Axis Mutual Fund.
Yes, sir.
So I would like to start with Alok. Specifically, let's start from an NBFC perspective. And from the morning, we heard there are a lot of things which banks have been doing, but NBFCs are doing things faster and in more agile way. Some of the services which banks are normally have a longer cycle to go through. So keeping in mind, but often there is a collaboration between the NBFC and the banks to deliver many of these services to customers. So keeping in light, what sort of digital adoptions NBFCs are undertaking, especially since many of the services are now delivered increasingly through online platforms or mobile apps. So what are the sort of digital adoptions you are seeing in the NBFCs?
Yeah, thank you. Coming to the topic of digital adaptation, I think it is perennially across the entire organization and the ambit of operations. I mean, right from customer sourcing to onboarding the customer, most of the processes have gone digital. It may be about empaneling new channel partners, how you onboard the customers, how you take the customers, acquire the customers into your system. The days of physical application forms have long become, sort of extinct now. So right from digital onboarding to even in the underwriting process, most of the operations have been taken by digital processes of scoreboard underwriting and credit score evaluation, to the last leg of customer service, answering their queries, handling their requirements, and the entire loan cycle. So yes, most of the processes have had a digital involvement and have progressed from its erstwhile avatar, which makes the services much more faster, which makes the customer experience much more better, and also the speed of transaction increases. On the long side, for the organization, also the cost of operations comes down. So it's a win-win, and it is perennially now across the organization, not limited to one facet of operations.
Okay, thank you. So basically from the customer acquisition, onboarding to the digital underwriting, the entire process involves digitization. Great. Vipul, I'll come to you next. I have a similar question, maybe specifically the customer acquisition and the onboarding part. That's one part of the challenge where there will be some marketing involved, and then the entire process of acquisition, and even after acquisition, the onboarding process. What sort of digitization are involved there, and what are the challenges in those digitization approaches?
So the basic purpose is we want to make the life of the customer extremely convenient. So we want to make the journeys very simple so that customer is able to complete it themselves, right? Then only it's purely digital. So from a specific onboarding point of view, there are a lot of integrations involved because the KYC norms in India are so strict. We have to do a PAN authentication, Aadhar authentication, a bank account authentication. So there are multiple integrations with third parties, and we have to follow all the compliance. So within that domain, we try to make the life of the customer as easy as possible. I'll give you a couple of examples where we recently made the life easier. So one, we integrated with account aggregators. So we collect the bank account statements of customers for segment activation, and which was a big challenge because you need a specific format. Sometimes the file size is huge, or it's very, sometimes the file is in a different format, it's in XLS. So we made it simple by account aggregator integration where customer has to give their Aadhar authentication, and basis that the statements are automatically pulled from their banks. Now there is also challenges in that. The account aggregators still have only 50-60% coverage. So in 40% cases, we're still not able to get the statement. And second, in many cases, the customer is also questioning why I need to do the Aadhar authentication multiple times. So the multiple OTPs which go to customer, the multiple authentication the customer has to do. So these challenges are still there, but we are moving towards making it even more seamless. Right. Another example is we need to collect bank account details of customer. So we recently introduced reverse penny drop. Many times when you're putting bank account details, you may be missing one digit or you put wrong IFSC code. So these lead to rejection and maybe delay in onboarding. Right. With the reverse penny drop, you can actually make a payment from UPI and pull out all the details of the customer. So that is completely seamless. Our success rate has increased from 85% to 97%. Right. So these are the things which are actually making the onboarding process very smooth. Right.
Okay. Thanks. So to the next speaker, I'll come with this example. This is Rajesh. This example is the best use case of a collaboration between a bank and a non-banking financial service provider. So, and this collaboration now can be extended between a bank and an insurance and an NBFC, fintech, everyone. So, when we are talking about this collaboration, what will be the dynamics of that partnership? Because unless this synergy or integration is not seamlessly happening, there can be one, obviously a bad experience for customers, and even more seriously, there can be security vulnerabilities and a lot of other issues involved. So how seamlessly this digital dynamics is being achieved?
See, NBFCs are depending on the bank's infrastructure to get synergized with the technology which is being owned by RBI for the compliance purposes. And when it comes to services to the customer, to make it easy, we are using online apps and payment API integration for faster payments and the claims what we are getting from the insurance. And the other part is when we go with the partnership with the insurance, it's a benefiting for both the companies. Our customers can be shared with the products, specific products based on the segmentation. And similarly, there will be growth for insurance also. They need not have to search for the customers. A specific customer will have the right product to be shared with them, and they sell with the selling on the part of it.
Okay, thank you. Preeti, I come to a more specific part from an NBFC perspective, with the assumption that NBFCs will be more agile and offering faster services to the customers. Now, there are a lot of innovations involved in the newer services that you are delivering to the customer. So when these different innovations are come into the picture, how much of the digital adoption are involved in these new innovations, and so that they can really benefit the customers and enhance the customer experience from your perspective?
So coming to the digital innovation part, the enhancements whichever are happening in an NBFC scenario, like one of my panelists said, they start right from the onboarding. Right from onboarding to your credit decisioning, to the time you have the welcome kit going to the customer, and then servicing. So if I have to take this journey, right from the time how, in fact, I'll go one step back and I'll also look at how customer acquisition is being done. So now there are so many, I think RBI has also come up with some guidelines on how digital partners have to be onboarded and what are the guidelines governing those. I think all of us are very much clued up on that. So one thing I would like to say is that customers now are also very savvy, that they know that it is going to be a digital route. So they are also not prepared to sign all those, earlier I think there were almost around 69, 70 pages which had to be signed. Now with something as simple as an e-sign, it's an OTP based sign and you are going ahead and doing that. Customers also want that. This also helps us in terms of servicing. When customers come back and say, especially mis-selling or any other, alleged mis-sales, you can always go back to the customer and say that, no, this is something which you have signed yourself. I'm coming to one more point here on when insurance, most of the NBFCs, if they're doing dealing, they're also attaching insurance along with their loans. That entire cycle is also digitized. So customers are aware of it, and they're also aware of their own responsibility towards, providing OTPs, etc. Since I'm looking after customer experience, I would like to say that the benefit which we have got and the customer has got from digitization is immense. The way the tax have gone down, totally crunched from, I think, earlier 15 days or 10 days to look at customer requests. Now I can talk about ourselves that at least my 99% queries are resolved in the same day, and at least 80 to 87% of my requests are getting resolved within 7 days. So huge benefits in terms of that. I mean, there's very little time, otherwise I can give a lot of examples on what small things which we have done which will help us, get a better customer experience.
Great, thanks. In fact, that gives me the lead for our next panelist, Arpanarghya.
Hi.
Hi. She talked about the personalized experience, and I'll extend that. There are even the morning session, there were a lot of talks about hyper-personalization and to enhance the personalized experience. So from a NBFC and overall a BFSI organization, from your perspective, how do you optimize your business operations at the same time so that this hyper-personalization is done more effectively and in a better manner? So that it enhances the customer satisfaction quotient.
Fantastic. If you see the way the consumers have changed, There was a point of time when we used to enter the bank and we knew the bank manager and the bank manager knew you. To a faceless entity, okay, who comes across digital assets, wants to buy, doesn't want to buy, let's keep that aside, right? But when they come, they expect that if there are an existing customer of the entity, be it a bank, be it an NBFC, be it let me take my last industry where I worked, e-commerce, right? They expect the portal to tell them that these were your top 3 restaurants, or these were the top 5 products that you bought, right? And so personalization is all about transparency, first. Second is, depending upon the behavior of the customer that he or she displays on the digital assets, how are you using that data to use, right? So personalization would mean that, hey, you know, I started where I left last time, and it could also mean radically very opposite, I want to see something new. So how are your digital systems and machines learning from each and every experience that a customer is putting a footprint on? That's the main point. Second is, personalization is very private, right? You know, you might want to have a very different experience while you're ordering for a nice Indian dish on a Zomato, or when you're buying mutual funds on Nippon platform, or on a Grow or a Paytm platform. And the same for insurance, right? People expect ease, understanding, non-friction areas to be the first aspects of personalization. No one is expecting a good evening and good afternoon from you. That is passé. That's like, 15 years back, all these things used to happen. What they expect is that I have come to download my 80C statement. It is March. Please don't have the first page showing me new products to invest in, but the first should be download your 80C. And by the way, before you're going, these are good products for your children who are now going to be 12 and 13 respectively. I think that's the kind of personified touch that all of us as an industry needs to bring in. Last point, sorry for stretching it. We heard the Honorable RBI Governor and the departing State Bank of India Chairman talking about how deposits are moving out from bank and going into F&O, stock markets, mutual funds. There's a probable risk. It's a big question that one needs to understand. Why are people doing this? Indian sentiment is always conservative with a little bit of aggression. But if you are taking away 50% of your deposits to invest in funds which you are not aware of, probably there is some personalization that we could all work on there, which could be in the form of investor education, customer education, saying, hey, it doesn't mean that, markets are doing very well and you're going to buy something at a very higher price and you're going to make profits out of it. I think these are the, all aspects that need to come together.
That's a very interesting food for thought, in fact. Yes, that perspective. With that, I'll come to Ashwini. You're the sort of the odd man out in the panel, coming from a banking perspective, but I'll take the other perspective, which I've asked some of the panelists who are from the non-banking and collaborating with banks. On the other hand, from a banking perspective, collaborating now differently with the non-banking financial services, what are the digital adoption roadmap, the milestones of that digital adoption roadmap that you are witnessing?
Yeah, so good evening everyone, and thank you for inviting me. So if you look at the technology adoption in bank, no doubt there are a lot of advantages of technology adoption. Either it is cost or turnaround time, and because of this, all of us are forced to move to technology, whether we want or don't want. So now question is how to do this, how to optimize the entire solution framework. So as a bank, when we talk about technology adoption, this is happening across all products, all verticals, all processes. So when we talk about products, either it is liability side, from deposit side, or loan underwriting side, both sides we are moving very rapidly in terms of adoption. In terms of, if you look at through internet banking or through mobile banking, the number of deposit accounts getting opened and number of term deposit account getting opened, that is gradually increasing, and that rate of growth is very fast. Also in the underwriting, underwriting means basically when we approve the loan, we need different kind of framework. So traditionally we used to assess any retail customer through some credit officer will receive the proposal, he will do scoring, and basis that he will decide. Now we have a business rule engine, which has pre-defined template. Customer will input data, and based on the data, automatically system will give a score, and basis that system can decide whether to go ahead or no. That is largely happening in the retail space, because in the corporate space, this same thing cannot happen. And that number of proportion of transaction happening through this mode is increasing year on year. Since as a bank, we are spread across India, and within India, we have multiple different kind of customer segment. So entire transition may not happen suddenly. This will happen over a period of time, but this is happening. So this is also benefiting us in terms of quality of underwriting, because it gives very standardized kind of underwriting framework where manual intervention is limited. So manual error gets eliminated. Also, some biases gets eliminated. Plus, some kind of integrity issue can also be handled through this underwriting, through the digital underwriting process. So a lot of business rule engine is getting defined within the bank, and for different products, different rule engine you need to decide, and that is happening. Also on the recovery side and transaction monitoring side, a lot of things are happening where we want to identify certain kind of early warning signal. So a lot of alerts are being defined, logics are getting defined, and if any unusual transaction happens within the system, that alerts get generated, and people can take care of those alerts, and then required action can be taken. So a lot of alerts are also getting generated, which is largely happening through AI. Not AI, through digital framework. Use of AI is definitely, that will move slowly, but then technology adoption is already there. Now, also in terms of a lot of processes integration, like we talk about KYC and other small things, a lot of activities, internal processing activities are there, both on liability side, asset side, and what you call remittance side. A lot of adoption is happening of technology, and that is all helping us. At the same time, we are also getting exposed to a lot of different kind of challenges and risks. That has become a bigger issue than what used to have under physical mode. So obviously, this has created a lot of convenience for us. It has improved into cost reduction, but the entire saving is going into preventing or minimizing risks also.
Okay, thank you. Kinjal, Shah, I'll come to next is AI. From the morning, we have heard about AI and especially now Gen AI. So in terms of when we are delivering the customer services through chatbots and virtual assistants, how is AI helping in some of these becoming more sophisticated and sort of as a result enhancing the customer satisfaction?
So from an AI perspective, I think today most of the chatbots are set questions are there and set answers are available. When customer will ask something, it will just try to match that with the answer. But what AI can help is they can try to improve that customer experience. You won't have a set of questions and answers, you'll have a set of data points. And when the customer is asking that question, it will try to link the most correct data point to respond to. So like if you were say, coming to that chatbot with your customer ID, it'll pull up your name and say, hello, how are you, with so and so. Then if it's like theme based, if there's something they've asked, and if there's something related, apart from answering the question, you will say, I've answered your question, but then there is some additional information which I would like to share. Or do you want like the recording of this call or this document that you were discussing to be sent to you or email? So it will become more personalized rather than just simple question answer based. And second is the experience with AI and Gen AI. Now what is happening is when the customer recordings and all are analyzed, you understand like there are some customers who are really rogue and there are some customers who are really curious about the help. So typically what are the issue with customer service is like half the time no one picks up the phone. So the chatbots and all solve that. And second piece is like you are not sure if the customer service has understood your question and all. So with this kind of an engagement, you are able to analyze the calls that have gone past, learn from that, and improve your services. Not only the chatbots, but even the human service can be improved.
Improved. Okay, great. Thanks.
So I would like to add something on that from a chatbot and a Gen AI perspective. One of the used cases which we have done at our organization, we were just trying to use it. I think it was about 6 months back when Chat GPT came. So we had all our email communication templates which we had. We ran it past the Chat GPT, and we were so amazed with the kind of results which came. Earlier, the team was spending hours just to make those templates and then upload them for the agents. But the Chat GPT came up with an option, 3-4 options it gave us. Everything was perfect, the grammar, the spellings, and we just had to choose from there that which is the one we want. So this was just experimental, but it really helped.
Okay, thanks.
Right now, we are doing an experiment. We are working with a fintech where they will analyze the transcripts of our chat,
Okay.
the customer service, and then they will let us know on various parameters whether we are rude to the customer or if the customer is rude to us, because we have a range of customers. So this will help us customize the service with them.
Okay. Omkar, your experience on this personalized experience improving through conversational experience with the customers, what are your opinion on that?
So as Shah had mentioned that the chatbot are currently using LMN model, where natural language model would be giving you a kind of a natural language processing, and it will understand what is the sentiment of that particular customer. That will help him to enhance the answer as well as the personalized conversation. It's not like look like a chatbot, it look like a human being talking to him.
Okay.
So that is the advantage of Gen AI. Second advantage is there are many operational things which has been optimized from the Gen AI perspective. So for example, for creation of marketing pamphlets, now we are using Gen AI. So these are the various use cases. Compliance, we can read out, you have to read multiple documents. Rather reading multiple documents, you can summarize the document and you can ask the questions on that. These are the various use cases where Gen AI is giving a more output.
Talking about
Add on to this, right now we are also experimenting. We've tried some tools where all the regulatory circulars come, we try to summarize that. And then we look at the department applicable and directly it shoots out. Otherwise, what happens is the compliance officer takes the circular and he broadcasts it to everyone. So no one really looks at it.
Yeah, talking about compliance, Alok, I'll come to you next. How are NBFCs sort of fortifying their cybersecurity roadmaps at the same time complying to because the regulatory compliances, their scope is also expanding. It was earlier primarily the banks, the NBFCs are also coming, and the cybersecurity vulnerabilities are also increasing. So how are the two sort of matching? If the two don't match, there will be more vulnerabilities. So how are the compliances also broadening their scope, especially for NBFCs?
In terms of NBFC and banks and the sector altogether, I think compliance has been a flavor which has been running for more than 1.5 to 2 years. Every month there is a new circular about something or the other. Specifically coming to IT security part, yes, there are inherent compliances. There are requirements of CISA, which is the Information Security Audit, which has to be complied for. There are regulations pertaining to high-scale, high-level NBFCs, medium-level NBFCs, and also for the banks. With new technology coming up, it is in fact a tad better than what it used to be earlier, as most of our vendors and the people whom we partner with in collaborative operations are also on the similar or a same technology platform, if not uniform platform, and the collaboration and the synergies are much better. So the APIs are integrated and internal measures are in place for security to be more compliant. Also, the BCOP processes are so robust those days that the requirement of a in-house server or a cloud server or a backup servers are much in place as a standard precaution today. So it is much better in today's time. And obviously, the regulatory requirements of, as I said, the various aspects of compliance and audit are mostly taken care of. So it is much better in today's world. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Vipul, talking about the cyber security, how are you ensuring cyber security from an NBFC perspective, especially when some of the perception on the digital lending part because of these dubious apps coming, there has been a general negative perception. So keeping in light, how are you maintaining the cyber security robustness?
Great. So we have a very strong focus in our organization on cybersecurity. I think in last couple of years there is a strong in-house CISO team which we have built. So they are continuously doing audit of all our applications, publishing the vulnerabilities, and then tracking the closure of all the vulnerabilities as per the severity. So high ones are solved immediately, and they're also tracking the medium and low ones. But beyond that also, we are taking external help as well. So we're engaging with consulting companies which specialize in security, and they are guiding us on how can we improve and make our systems more robust in terms of cybersecurity. Second, what are the potential threats in future which we should start thinking about now, and we should make our systems secure and make them future-proof ready. We are also forming, I think, which was part of the last panel discussion, we're also forming blue and red panel teams. So they are red teaming and attacking, and then blue team is working on blocking those attacks. So that is also helping us discover the vulnerabilities in our system, which is much better approach than actually a regular audit. So those are helping us to plug the gaps wherever feasible.
No. Thanks. I'll come to you next on your views on the regulatory compliances part.
As the panelists said, we are following all the regulatory compliances. It's a mandatory, and a regular half-yearly audit should be done on the cyber security. That we are ensuring it. Apart from that, before launching any of the app and other things, pre-launch audit has been done, VAPT has been, and half-yearly VAPT has been from the third party. And when we onboarding the third parties, before onboarding, regular audit and what is the security compliances they are maintaining, that is being checked, and then post that only we are onboarding them to see that post onboarding there should not be any compliance issues. So that we are ensuring that.
Thank you.
That way we are maintaining.
Sure. Preeti, from a cybersecurity perspective, the initiatives or the views that you are taking?
So from a cybersecurity perspective, since we are a wholly owned subsidiary of Axis Bank, so all the compliances are, I would say, doubly insured for us, because one is compliance internal, and the other is that also we have the bank subsidiary governance team also looking at it. So yes, everything related to data security, whenever you're onboarding vendors, or even starting before that, when you are wanting to get a POC done, getting your NDAs signed, then looking at very, very clear on data security, that if required, we will be giving our own machines to the vendors, so that, because most of the now it is on cloud, etc. So how is it that we are going to be compliant with that? And as all of us are aware, RBI is also now very, very strict about data security and compliances. So yes, many audits during the year on cyber security, which is kind of ensuring that we are all compliant.
Okay. Arpanarghya, in terms of, for just paucity of time, I'd request all panelists to be very brief and succinct. We would like to wrap up in the next 5-6 minutes. From a innovation point of exercise, what finance organization is always looking at innovative products, which can be done through cross-selling or upselling. So where does technology play a role in devising some of these innovations and delivering them to the customers, so that you can create ultimately it's a very competitive field also. So where can you be the differentiator in terms of those innovations?
So I think, very good question. So I think innovation is the offspring of a problem. So if you can figure out the problem to solve, then and if you think that problem needs to be solved overall as an industry, then people come together and they put their heads together and they innovate. The biggest example in this country is UPI.
True.
Right? Transferring money from your one bank to somebody else's bank or other banks got solved with the UPI chassis in place. So I think as digital technology business, we should stop chasing our own agenda on what we feel is right, and we should start chasing the customer's agenda or the consumer's agenda. Please don't forget, and I have colleagues from Axis Bank and other NBFCs right over here. If somebody goes to a site and does not buy a Nippon mutual fund or does not use an Axis Bank credit card or, just pays with points, we are all losing money, right? So it's very important to be consumer oriented, innovate, if there is a problem, but keep in mind that first that you need to do is get your basics right.
Yes.
Yeah, and innovation will follow, problems will follow, and we'll solve for it.
Yes, the basic thing, for paucity of time now, taking it up, access part is there. I'm a personal user of a Citibank credit card, and last couple of months, the migration to Access, there are a lot of teething issues happening on the consumer front. There. Okay, great. I'll come to you, Ashwini. From a banking perspective, again in that collaboration mode, the one biggest security challenge that you are currently facing, and how are you looking to solve it?
Yeah, I think from collaboration perspective, yes, definitely this third party risk, I think something was getting discussed in the previous panel also. So as a bank, we need to engage with number of vendors, and many of them are into IT space or fintech player. And ensuring their compliance, they meet their compliance requirement, that has become a big challenge. Because ultimately, we are responsible for all of their activities. We can just outsource activity, not the responsibility. So what we have been witnessing, there has been challenges from vendor side. If there any disruption happens, they don't have any backup plan. So BCP needs to be in place for all these vendors. Also, there has to be a defined agreement, and they need to follow those terms of the agreement, which does not happen many times because of their own capability issue. Many times these players are small in nature, and they have the technical capability, but they may not have financial flexibility to manage many of these things. So we face a lot of challenges from that side, and I think this is true for many of the banks who are engaging with various players, either it is for API integration on underwriting side or some early warning signal side, or any activity which we carry out.
Okay, thank you. Kinjal, very briefly, in terms of, since you are coming from a securities perspective, in terms of customer acquisition, when you are looking at one biggest challenge that you are facing as far as technology is concerned while looking at customer acquisition and onboarding?
So I think we are focusing more, I don't think it's a challenge, but a task. We're more and more focusing on digital channel acquisition. Like today, even I have bought some software which I have found through leads on LinkedIn or something. So I think more and more customers are coming online, because what has happened is Aadhar has made the trust piece taken care of, and UPI has made the funds transfer almost real time. So with that as a base, we have getting more and more customers. So the getting a customer is easy, but easy come and easy go. So we have to focus on giving innovative products and making the whole experience favorable. So that is what challenge is as far as customer acquisition is concerned. We are able to acquire them at a very fast pace, but engaging them and retaining them is what we are now looking at.
Retaining is a challenge part. Omkar, in terms of leveraging data analytics for better customer insights, what are the main things that you are doing?
So in terms of data analytics, we are working on the customer retention mainly. So whenever user is doing kind of a redemption or exiting from my scheme or anything, so that time we are identifying what are his interest areas, what are his goals, long-term goals, financial goals, and according to that we start nudging, and using that we are trying to retain the customer. Similar way for acquisition as well, we are doing the same thing. Nowadays, Instagram is a boom for all the people, so we have started the Instagram also for the marketing channel.
Okay. Yes, those are innovative views. So last 30 seconds to each panelist. One critical trend that you expect the financial organization will adopt in the next 12 to 18 months, starting with you, Alok.
One trend which we see evolving presently also and in the shortcoming future would be, as one of my co-panelists said, trying to address the customer's issue. It will more make the life seamless and working around faster turnaround times. So use of technology with requirement of customer friendliness, that I see would be a developing challenge, which is again we are focusing on nowadays. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
So one trend that I see is, and it's already happening in companies like Microsoft, is now using AI to automate a lot of coding. So we can develop faster, we can ship out faster, we can solve customer problems faster. So using tools like GitHub, Copilot, so that is, I think, going to transform the way we are developing right now.
Thanks.
Using AI for customer holding and servicing, that is one, and data protection is the major.
Data protection. Yes. Preeti.
I think being a customer experience person, I will also go with generative AI for improving customer experience, and also being very strong on compliances. I think these are two things which, because if you're using Gen AI, then definitely compliance is also very important.
Thank you.
Yes. We have been talking a lot about digital technology, AI, but biggest challenge for the bank or any financial institution will be to develop right kind of model. How do you define your model, your own model? How do you define logics and implement it? I think there is a lot of issues around that, and a lot of work is required to be done. Just blindly going with AI and technology or digital may not help you in reaching to the right place in the right manner. You'll have to have a lot of work needs to be undergo to define the logic and define the right kind of models.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. The average age of India is 28 years, 6 months. 70% of this 144 crore people are below 31. I think what we all have to do, irrespective of our industry and functions that we are from, is to decode the Generation Z. Right? And the Generation Z is all about 3 Fs. They want everything to be futuristic, friendly, and frictionless. As long as we can do this string of pearls proper, we'll be able to figure it out.
Give a quotable quote. Yes, sir.
I think we need to build products which grow with the customer. So like he said, the average age is less, but over time that average age will increase, and he will need more. He'll move from do it yourself to do it for me. So that is what you have to keep in mind.
Sure. Yes.
So I think almost all points are covered. So I feel all of them have answered the right thing. So I feel there would be more from the data protection point of view. The personal data should be protected. Although we are going innovative, we are going with the Gen AI, but the personal data should be protected.
Thank you. Thank you. So with that, we come to the end of the panel discussion, and we want to recognize each of our panelists for their stellar contribution in technology deployment across financial services. And for felicitating them, I'd like to call on stage Sanghamitra Mohanty. She is the co-founder and director of APAC News Network. Can we have Sanghamitra on stage? And although one's ready. So I'd like to recognize Alok Aggarwal, CEO of Muthoot Homefin. Vipul, Nirwani, Senior Group Vice President, Debt Digital Products, Motilal, Oswal, Factories. Rajesh K. and Deputy Vice President, IP Infrastructure, Aadhar Housing Finance. ETC, with customer experience and system. Arpanarghya Shah, Digital Officer. Ashwini Kumar Choudhary, Chief Risk Officer, Indian Bank of Kinjal, Shah, CTO, Yes Securities. Omkar, Sawant, PIP, Axis Mutual Fund. Can I request all